Hello and welcome back to Hop to the Top. Hope you're all doing well today as we've got two games coming up. We've got a game against Zamax and a game against Zurich, of course the Zurich Derby. And in between both of those we've got the Champions League group stage draw, which is very exciting. A lot of stuff has happened in between episodes. The first thing we need to talk about, transfers, okay? Now, last episode, we mentioned that in previous seasons, we have sold players for a lot of money to sort of make some profit. Think Nassim Ben Khalifa or Morandi, for example. This season so far, we haven't sold anyone until now, and it's quite a lot of money. So to put you out of your misery, let's go to the transfer history, and you'll see Ivan Ilić has gone for £24 million to Brighton. And I've got to say, it's not a deal I wanted to do because Ilić is fantastic. He's a great player. He's arguably the best in the squad. However, when Brighton bid £8 million, I went back to them and said, give me 25, thinking they'd just reject it and that would be the end of it. They came back and said, well, we can give you 24. So we agreed on £24 million and Ilić has gone, which is a bit of a shame. It is a shame because he's a fantastic player, but we can do a lot with £24 million. A lot. I mean, as you can see, he's had two and a bit fantastic seasons with us. He's been a great player, a great servant to the club. But it was kind of that time to move him on, especially when we're getting £24 million deals come in for him. I feel like it was the right deal, so he's gone. And I know some of you might be upset about it, but it's something we have to do. We have to sell players to make money. Obviously, this season it's Ilić. Last season it was, if we look at it, it was Eliuan, of course, and Nicholas Stefan. They both went for a big chunk of money. Season before that was the Morandi deal that went for 2.8 million. Season before that, of course, was the season that we let Ben Khalifa go, and the one before that was our first season. We didn't actually sell anyone big apart from two players that we didn't really use for just over £1 million. How do they actually get on? Well, he plays for Sion now, Alves, which is interesting. So didn't actually do that well at Bristol City at all. And the other one went to Preston, where he now plays for Mansfield. So shows how well their careers went. Either way, it's not all doom and gloom that Ilić has gone because we have signed two replacements for him. The first one being Matias Pal Mario. Of course, you should recognise him because we had him a few seasons ago on loan. Played very, very well for us in that season with a 7.1 average rating. So I think is a great replacement. Obviously not as good as Ilić is right now, but still a very good player to come in. And then second of all, as well as him, for £2.7 million, Marius Marin has come in from Cluj. He looks like a very good box-to-box midfielder or ball-winning midfielder, both positions that we like to use but don't really have anyone naturally in those positions. So Marin comes in, which I think is going to be a good signing for us, I've got to say. Again, obviously not quite as good as Ilić, but comes in with a wealth of experience from the Italian and Romanian leagues. Because we are quite late in the transfer window, we haven't been able to spend that money massively on players. We did have a £15 million bid in for another midfielder, but they rejected the contract. Not many players are available right now, right at the end of the window, so we'll save most of that money for January or next season, I would imagine. Especially when the Champions League money comes in as well, we'll have loads of it to spend. Now, I did actually try to get a new stadium built. I wanted to ask the board, but there's just not an option. There's no option for a new stadium anywhere. And the only thing I can think of is that we just don't sell out. Like we'll go through the fixture in a minute, but we don't sell out our stadium, even against Young Boys, for example. The only game we will sell out is against Zurich. And I think that's the only reason why we can't ask for a new stadium, because we don't sell it out, because it does make sense to build a new one, because we're currently spending £4 million a season to rent the one we're in right now, which I'm not very happy with. So I'd like a new one, even if it's a smaller one, I'd like a new one. But we can't have that yet, apparently. So if you know why, please do leave a comment. Going back to the fixture list, it's been a mixed start to the season, where you were last here for the 1-0 win over Young Boys. We then had a disappointing draw against our bogey side, Sion, where Ilić scored the goal in that one to make sure that we picked up a point in it. And we got our first red card of the season in that game, with Bajrami being sent off as well for 2 yellow cards, which was lovely to see. I say Sion are our bogey side. They're not actually, are they, really? We've lost 2 games to them, but they were just too important. There were 2 games that were quite important, I think. We then had Servette up in the league with Dajaku and Callum Brennan scoring the goals in a 2-1 victory before we lost 2-0 to Luzerne, which was really upsetting, actually. Sosa also sent off in that game. We should have played better against Luzerne, but for whatever reason, we didn't. And for that reason, I think Luzerne are probably the team to watch this season. They're doing quite well for themselves. Following that, though, we beat a team called Bull 4-2 in the Swiss Cup first round. Although we did go behind twice in that game with if I move my head around behind the microphone, we've got a very rotated lineup there. So as I say, a bit of a mixed start to the season. Not really the free scoring side we want to be and things like that. But we do currently sit fourth in the table after 4 games on 7 points. St. Gallen, interestingly, atop of the table on 10 points, with Luzerne second and Basel in third. Young Boys sit fifth. And our opponents today is Zamax at 7th and Zurich in 9th. So all that kind of news is out of the way. It's time to get into the games properly. And this is the lineup that we're going to go for against Zamax. We've got Fruchtel back in goal for the first time this season. He's just come back from his injury, so that's good to see. And that usual, probably going to be usual this season, backline of Boone, Bajrami, Augusto and Cruz. Schneider starts as that advanced playmaker. We're swapping roles around a little bit in today's game, as Schneider's that advanced playmaker again, with new signing Marin alongside as that box-to-box midfielder. Alex Smith is the attacking midfielder through the middle of the pitch, but we've got Claude Maurice and Harvey Elliott as inside forwards, with Matthew Bottles starting as a false 9 today, which hopefully might give a bit more freedom to our inside forwards to maybe cut inside and score a couple goals. That's my hoping, at least. Either way, that's the lineup. Hopefully it all works out and we get a good result today. So let's get into it. So then, kickoff is upon us, away from home today against Zamax, but hopefully we're going to get back into winning ways in the league and get a good victory today, as Bajrami plays it all the way back to Fruchtel making his first appearance this season. I've got to say, Hunter Ball played well. I was very pleased with Hunter Ball. Obviously, perhaps could have done better in the Luzerne game where we conceded 2 goals, and the cup game as well, but he didn't have as good defenders around him because we rotated the lineup so much. For the most part, though, I was pretty impressed with Hunter Boone, so hopefully he'll be a big part of our plans in the future. I am thinking perhaps playing Bottles as a false 9. Perhaps we need to make Alex Smith a shadow striker. That might make things a little better, as Alex Smith tackles the ball there and gets forward. Claude Maurice in behind the defence, puts it inside to Harvey Elliott, who still can't score from open play. The thing is, in all of our games that we've played, we have had the more shots. We've had more possession. We're just rubbish going forward. That's what we are so far this season. Rubbish going forward. You saw it last episode where we had, 25 shots or so against Young Boys and only scored 1 goal, and that was a penalty. It's been quite similar, I've got to say, this season so far, and hopefully things will change today as Claude Maurice can't get it into the middle. Alex Smith into Bottles. Bottles with his first goal of the season. You love to see it. Matthew Bottles opens the scoring, and finally a goal from open play that actually was quite well worked to an extent. To Smith plays it out to Claude Maurice, and Claude Maurice could just get it back to Smith from the rebound, who puts it into Bottles, and it counts as no assist for Smith because it came off the defender first. So we got lucky there, actually, more than anything else, I've got to say. Started off saying it was well worked, but looking at that replay, actually very lucky with deflections. Can we grab a second goal before half-time? That would be wonderful if we could, as Felipe Cruz plays it back to Augusto, who comes forward with the ball. Back to Marin, Alex Smith, Bottles on the ball, Bottles, Claude Maurice, come on, into Harvey Elliott, who gets himself into such good positions all the time, but is finishing. He just can't score goals. That's the issue. He missed a penalty as well, I should say. He missed a penalty against Sion as well, so we should have won against Sion 2-1 if he'd scored that penalty, and instead we drew 1-1. So whilst he is the most expensive player that we've bought, he is very good with good potential. His current form right now isn't fantastic, Harvey Elliott, which I'm a little concerned with, as Boone, don't get sent off. He's not been given a yellow card. That's fine. Genuinely, don't quite know what to do about all our players getting yellow cards. So many. We've already had 2 players sent off this season. Which is terrible. But I don't have any instructions on, like, get stuck in or anything like that. They shouldn't be. They just like to get yellow cards. Or maybe the referees here are quite harsh. I don't know. I'm not sure. Either way, we get a lot of them. But it doesn't affect us too much because we did win the season, win the league last season, I should say. As Alex Smith into Schneider, Schneider to Bottles, Bottles to Marin, Marin out to Boone. Come on, lads, get another goal. Boone can put a cross into the middle, cleared only as far as Schneider. Felipe Cruz, let's get a second goal. Fantastic effort that was from Felipe Cruz. Makes it 2-0. Gives us some breathing room in today's game as well, which is fantastic. Let's watch this goal go in the back of the net. It looked like a pretty good effort, I've got to say. Schneider puts it out to Felipe Cruz, who just whacks it. And to be fair, keeper should have done better with it, but he didn't. So good goal, Cruz. Cruz continuing from where he left off last season with some incredible average ratings, just playing really, really well. I'm surprised Benfica let him have him back this season. I'm surprised he even wanted to come back. I'd think he'd want to go on for a bigger, better challenge, but I suppose Champions League football guaranteed is probably why he came back to the club, which I'm pretty pleased with. The Bottles has been put forward. Go on, Bottles, lad. Gets his second goal of the game. We are 3-0 up now with 22 minutes to go. You love to see it. Let's make some changes out there to rest a few players. Cruz looks tired, so Callum Brennan can come on for him on that right-hand side. Let's give Florian Wirtz a go out there. He can swap out for Marin, who's not played particularly well today on his league debut. He did play in the cup game, but hasn't played particularly well today. But they're the two changes that we'll make. So all we have to do now, really, is just sort of sit back and relax for the next 15 minutes of the game to go by. This is the best performance we've had this season so far. So good job you guys turned up for it, which is nice. But as the clock ticks down with a few minutes valid time, that is full time. We win 3-0 and temporarily go third in the table as St. Gallen drop behind Luzerne, but they've still got a game to play, so could go back on top if they win. Great performance from Matthew Bottles as well. Let's praise him for that. Keep it up, lad. You're doing fantastic. And now we've got a nice week off to recover for the Zurich game and to prepare for the Champions League group stage. I'm so excited for that. I would imagine we're going to be a 4th seed in that game as St. Gallen draw with Basel and Young Boys beat Toom but stay in 6th position in the table on goal difference. Young Boys, something's happened with them. They need to improve. Lots of players called up for international duty, including Randy Schneider to Switzerland, Molnar to Hungary, and Marion to Romania, with plenty of players called up to the Swiss under-21 squad as well. You love to see it. And because the group stage draw is here, and we have now got like guaranteed entry into the group stage, we've just been given £13.13 million for just getting to the group stage, which is huge amounts of money, huge amounts. So suddenly we're now sitting on £44 million in the bank. As a comparison, before the sale of Illich and this £13 million coming in, the most amount of money we had in the bank account at one point was 20 million. We've got more than double that. Champions League is just so important for money. So important for money. And so here we are at the group stage draw. So many good teams are in this. So we are definitely a 4th seeded side right down here with other teams that are loads better than us, really. So the plan is then to sort of draw just the first 3 teams in each group, essentially, and then we'll decide which one we want to sort of be in. So, all these have been drawn. Which one do we want to be in? I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, none of them look brilliant, if I'm honest with you. But what is quite exciting, actually, Basel, I just noticed this, Basel also in the Champions League group stage as well as us. They have got PSG and Barcelona, so RIP to them, but it's good to see that another Swiss side are in here with us. After this, we'll check as well how other clubs have got on, Swiss clubs that is, in their European journeys. For me right now, though, I think the best group to be in is probably Group A. I think we could get results against Celtic and Leipzig. I really think we could. I wouldn't mind Group G either, because I think we can get some results against Lyon and Dinamo, of course, as well. But, I mean, to be fair, as long as we come in the top 3, obviously top 2 go through to later stage of the Champions League, but 3rd drops down into the Europa League, and as long as we stay in Europe for as long as possible, top 3 is fine. So as long as we're capable of coming 3rd, which I think we probably would be in most of these groups, maybe not Group B because Ajax are very good. Group C, Benfica and Milan are quite good. So there's a few groups that I want to avoid, but A and G are groups that I want to be in. So let's keep drawing then. Draw the first team, Monaco, not us. Group B, Moscow. Group C is Red Star. Group D is Copenhagen. Okay, so we're still in the routing for Group G, which I want to be in. We can't be in Group F because Basel are already there. So my preference would be Group G, Group H, Group E. So let's draw the next team. It's Besiktas. We can't be in Group F, which is good. Please let us be in Group G. And it's Real San Sebastian there. So we go into the final group, Group H, with Roma, Porto, and Bayern Munich. So that is an interesting group. Obviously, I think we are favourites to come last in that group. I don't think there's... I've got to say, it's probably going to be Roma and Bayern Munich going through. I'd like to think we can come 3rd. All depends how Porto do, I think. Let me know in the comment section. Either way, how do you think we're going to get on? Let me know. Either way, our attention now turns to the Zurich Derby, and I don't really actually want to make any change to the lineup that absolutely thrashed Zamax. So, I think we're just going to keep it as it is. So then, kickoff is upon us once again in today's episode. Zurich, though, coming up, and we've not played Zurich on an episode for quite some time as Harvey Elliott puts his header just wide of the post. It's a very big game, though. It is the Zurich, I can't quite pronounce it, but it's a big derby either way. It's a massive, massive game, the biggest one in Switzerland, in my opinion, as Marin comes forward on the ball and he gets just about past everyone. Harvey Elliott is getting no luck, absolutely no luck when it comes to scoring goals. When he starts to score them, he'll be fantastic. He creates so many chances for himself, has too many shots really, if anything, and yet always hits the post, has it saved by the keeper. He's just been unlucky, really, I suppose. Would help if he actually had a better, finishing and shooting stats, maybe. That might help a little bit. I've got to say, in real life, it is a shame that Grasshoppers and Zurich aren't the forces that they used to be, because they were both really good sides, I've got to say, back in the day. Both have fallen by the wayside a little bit, of course, in real life, with Grasshoppers being relegated. And obviously, in this version of Football Manager, Zurich aren't much better than Grasshoppers, really, in real life sort of thing. So it's a bit of a shame for the Zurich club, but hopefully they'll both find themselves back in the fray of Swiss football soon, as Harvey Elliott plays it out to Felipe Cruz. Claude Maurice still can't score the goals. 9 shots to 0 shots, though. That is a pretty good stat. I like that one. And hopefully one of these are going to go in the back of the net very soon, as Boone puts it into the middle. Harvey Elliott waiting, can't quite reach it. And Zurich looking to come forward for their first shot of the game, which they're surely going to have right now. Great save from Fruchtel. One final chance before half-time, where Schneider comes forward on the ball into Felipe Cruz, puts it out towards Jordan Boone. Go on, lad, whack it. He's sort of lost time for that now, as Harvey Elliott finally scored his second goal of the season. Of course, scored a penalty on the first day of the season, but since then has been very unlucky. But today, finally scoring from open play to open up the scoring against Zurich. It's a fantastic ball across from Boone in the end to the far post, and what a volley that is into the top corner. Keeper could do nothing about it. 1-0 Grasshoppers. Good way to end that first half then. Very good way to end that first half, as all the players look pretty happy, apart from Boone, who looks stressed apparently, but we'll leave him on stressed. Sellout today for Zurich, but that's the only game of the season that really is a sellout for us, which is a bit of an issue. We need to get some bigger crowds coming at some point, but I think the Champions League will definitely help with that, as Boone to put the ball into the middle once again. Bottles not quite there, unfortunately, but Marin on the ball. Back to Boone. Marin in towards Harvey Elliott, who gets another goal. Come on. It's a great ball into the middle, to be fair, and Harvey Elliott waiting there, shot with the left foot, to be fair, at the inside post. It's a good goal. Up the other end of the pitch, though, Grasshoppers looking to come forward themselves, looking to maybe grab a goal or two to try and get themselves back in the game. It's a great ball across the middle there, in towards their number 9 striker, who finally actually does put it in the back of the net. It's a well-worked move from Zurich there. They've got themselves back in the game, only 1 goal behind us, and Fruchtel perhaps should have done better there. Towards the end of last season, there were a few comments saying that perhaps Fruchtel isn't good enough for us, and I don't know, something like that might suggest that is correct. I think he's good enough for now. He's not going to improve that much in the future, though, so perhaps if Hunter Ball doesn't come through quickly enough, then maybe we could look to sign someone else at some point. I don't know. As Harvey Elliott looking for a hat-trick, plays it back out to Marin, who can't quite get there. And it's Zurich coming forward again. Are they going to get 2 goals very quickly, as they are through behind the defence? Fruchtel saving it this time. We're going to make some changes out there, because Bottles, despite scoring 2 goals last time out, hasn't played well today. So Molnar can come on for him as an advance forward on attack. Well, let's make him a poacher. Let's make him a poacher, actually, instead. Oh, I just don't quite know what to do. We're going to take him off for Florian Wirtz right now. But Smith, he plays really well as an advanced playmaker. But then that means that Schneider isn't in his preferred role. And then he doesn't play particularly well. So we are in a little bit of a dilemma with Schneider and Smith, because they only sort of like to do one thing, and that's be an advanced playmaker, both of them, in different positions, which is a little bit frustrating. We can't really have 2 advanced playmakers, can we, in the squad? So we'll have to work something out, maybe try and make Smith that advanced playmaker again, and maybe move Schneider to something else once again, as we are maybe getting a penalty. Referee consulting VAR. We've been given a penalty. Harvey Elliott to score a hat-trick. He gets that hat-trick, his 4th of the season, and what a way to finish off today's game. I say finish it off, there is still 15 minutes to go in today's game. Still plenty of time for goals to be scored, and potentially there could be one right now, as Boone clears the ball up to the goal scorer Harvey Elliott, who just about wins the ball there. Felipe Cruz goes to collect it, and is under a bit of pressure, but gets out towards Bajrami, up towards Schneider. Schneider looking to come forward. Looks like he's going to play it out wide, or is he going to run with it completely? He just gets tackled instead. Okay, thank you, Schneider. He loses possession, and he nearly wins it back, but Cruz does win it back from a nice interception in towards Wirtz. Back to Schneider. Schneider out to Felipe Cruz. Back to Schneider. Go on, lad, have a shot from distance. Bang it in. Bang it in. nearly bangs it in. At the end of the day, though, we have come away 3-1 winners against Zurich, which is very nice because it moves us to the top of the table after 6 games played by everyone, which is beautiful. So after a slow start to the season, we've come back in today's 2 games thanks to you guys being here. And we've got the Champions League to think about now as well. So next episode then, we're going to do a bit of a special episode. We're going to do a 4-game bonanza because we're going to do Bayern Munich, Young Boys, Basel and Roma all in one episode. We'll miss this first game against Porto. We can do them later on as well. But that's an exciting one. So thank you very much for watching today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have done, please do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And I'll see you next time for a very big episode, but hopefully a very exciting one too with some massive, massive games coming up. So I'll see you for that one. Have a good one. Goodbye.